Okay, I see that people are starting to come on. Welcome, happy Thursday. Welcome to our webinar. Happy spring. Is it officially spring yet? Yeah, okay, good. Yay. Although I have snow in my background, but happy spring, everyone. Welcome, and I see that we're already getting to 30 participants. This is great. Woohoo. And welcome to the best, most fulfilling webinar you'll have attended in a while. Yay. And I'm Dennis. We'll start in another, like maybe 2 minutes, just to give everyone time to cycle on. Ooh, hi, Jenny Han. She just said hello to us. Great to see Jenny on here. And I'm Dennis Mondero. I'm the Executive Director of Chinese Mutual Aid Association, and I will be starting it off in like 1 more minute with my good friend Marjorie Moore, who is also here. Wave, Marjorie. And we are all truly thankful for everyone participating in this presentation today. Okay, so it's a few minutes after the hour. We have a good core group to start with over 30 people. I will reintroduce myself and my co-presenter, Marjorie. So I'm Dennis Mondero. I'm the Executive Director of Chinese Mutual Aid Association. We are proudly a human services nonprofit founded 40 years ago in Chicago's Uptown neighborhood. And it was founded by ethnic Chinese refugees who fled to the US after the fall of Saigon. And they were refugees from Vietnam and previously from China. And they came here to the US to fulfill their American dream. And they started our nonprofit as a way to help other immigrants and refugees that came after them. And so 40 years later, we can say proudly that we have a robust staff of over 300 employees. We provide services in youth programming, workforce development, ESL, English as a second language, citizenship to help and encourage immigrants to become US citizens, civic engagement. We are now the first Asian American small business development center in the state of Illinois. And just a lot of really cool initiatives. We have programs in elderly care and social services. And I am an immigrant kid myself, born in the Philippines. I was able to be raised in the Chicago area and grew up, became a lawyer, was a corporate lawyer, and have been so fulfilled working with my colleagues like Emily, like giving back to our community. I'd like to introduce my co-presenter, Marjorie Moore, who is Deputy General Counsel at DCFS. Hi, Marjorie.
Hi, Dennis. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Marjorie Moore. I am from Vietnam, and I grew up in Southern Illinois. I've worked for DCFS for more than 16 years, and I've had many roles with DCFS. My first role with DCFS was as a youth in care in 1982. My current role with DCFS is Deputy General Counsel, as Dennis has mentioned. When I was a youth in care, there were no Asian American foster parents. I am excited about this opportunity to be a part of this collaboration with the Chinese Mutual Aid Association, and that we are looking forward to having more Asian American foster parents.
And really, this presentation came about, we have all had a really tough past year, right? Like the pandemic, social unrest, racial strife. And so Marjorie and I were talking about, well, what can we all each individually do to lift the community? And Marjorie, in a phone call with me, was sharing that, is it something like right now there's always a need, an ever-present need for over 4,000 children in the Chicago region need foster care. And that just struck me when Marjorie shared that there is a disproportionate number of children who are from African American, Latino, LGBTQ plus children who need responsible parents. And honestly, I don't know too many Asian American families who have ever thought about being foster parents. And since we have a cool following of thousands of folks at our organization, you know, we kind of started talking about, well, why don't we like ask DCFS and the wonderful presenters folks will hear in a few minutes to share what that experience is going to be like, so that maybe hopefully a larger arena of people might consider the really noble work of being a foster parent. And for those that you might know who aren't on the call today, we will be recording this and we will be putting this on CMAA's website. So if you know someone who might be interested in this topic, please encourage them that they could find this on YouTube or on Chinese Mutual Aid Association's website and hear from our great speakers.
So one of the things that I want to mention about this is during that phone call where Dennis and I talked about this, he comes from a demographic that I think is really important to tap into. And that demographic is that he is an empty nester. So he was talking about how his daughter was going off to college and he and his wife had thought about becoming a foster parent too. So that's how this conversation got started. And he wanted to know, he said, well, you know, if I'm interested, then there have to be other people who are interested. And that's where the true collaboration really began. And so, you know, all of the things that Dennis said about this attempt to get more foster parents is absolutely true. So we are truly looking forward to presenting the information to CMAA and CMAA followers. Thank you very much, Dennis.
Thanks, Marjorie.
At this time, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce a very good friend and colleague of mine, Beatrice Ramirez. I've known Beatrice for the full 16 years that she's been a part of DCFS. She began as an intern for DCFS, and I've gotten to know her work as a placement worker. She moved on from there, and she has had several roles, including a role in the foster care licensing unit. She is currently in the role of the Cook County Recruitment Resource Supervisor. Please welcome Beatrice Ramirez.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. It's so good to be here today with you guys. I'm so excited at this opportunity to do a presentation on becoming a foster parent. Yes, we have a great need. We need you. We need foster parents. And I'm going to get started with a PowerPoint presentation to give you guys some information. All right. So just give me 1 second, everyone. I'll be here we go. There we go. All right, so welcome. So this is a message from our director. Every child deserves to grow up in a safe, supportive, and loving family. When children cannot stay safely in their homes, DCFS turns to foster parents to become part of a team to help them heal, remain in school, and receive all their support so they can return home. Being a foster parent is hard work, and it can also be the most rewarding experience of your life. From Mark Smith, our acting director from the Department of Children and Family Services. So let me start by this presentation with asking you all a question. Have you ever wished to be something bigger than you, to truly make a difference in this world? Let me tell you that I have. And I'm delighted to hear Marjorie's story, Danny's story, and this is why I'm here today. All right, because I myself wanted to make a difference. In my 16 years working for DCFS, let me tell you that I saw the true impact that abuse and neglect has on children. It has been heartbreaking, 16 years. However, during the 16 years, I also witnessed children being able to heal, being able to thrive in the loving care of adults, of foster parents. And that's what prompted me to begin my journey, to make the decision to become a foster parent. I am a proud foster parent of 3 little ones. I have a 6-year-old little boy, a 7-year-old girl, and a 12-year-old girl. Yes, you guys heard right. I have 3 kids in my home. Yes, my life has changed completely, but you know what? I will not change it for anything in the world. Yes, so that's why I am here. That's why we're all here. We're here to encourage you to consider becoming a foster parent, to join us in transforming a child's life. You can open your home, your love, your life to a child in need. You can help us transform the next generation, the next Marjorie, the next, president. You can be part of that next future, a child's future. You can help many children for the first time in many cases, help them dream, help them plan, have a future in their lives. You can be a mentor, and in the process, you can help children begin to heal. And most importantly, you can help us help families reunify. And you can do all of this as a foster parent. Yes, because foster parents provide loving care to children until it is safe for them to return home to their birth family. However, when reunification is not possible, the department finds forever home to these children through adoption or guardianship. And let me ask you a question. I know we were talking about, somebody mentioned numbers earlier today, but can you guess how many children we currently have in care? I'm not gonna be able to hear your answer, but I'll give you a few minutes to think about it, all right? How many children do we have in DCFS in care at the moment? Let me share the number with you. Currently, we have more than 21,000 children and youth in DCFS in Illinois. I know that's a very, very high number. It's very sad. And out of those children, there's more than 6,000 children in in Chicago, and in the suburban Cook County. And these children could be in your neighborhood. They're very close, they're in our area. Yes, these are very, very shocking numbers. When since I started working on this presentation, it is very sad to see the numbers go up. They've been going up every minute, and it's so sad, and that's why we need you. We need your help. But let me show you another shocking number, and that is the number of children who need a home now, at this moment. Right now, there's 600 children who need a home right now, who need a loving home, who need a loving family. And let me give you some stats on the ages of the children in care, all right? 43% of children in care are between the ages of 0 to 5 years old. That's a very high percentage, I know. 30% of children are between the ages of 6 to 12 years old. 18% of children are 13 to 17 years old, and 9% are 18 and over. And these are the children are ready to emancipate, to become adults. And they need mentors. They need somebody to support them, to take them to those college tours, or a vocational school. They need someone. They need you. They need us. Yes. And DCFS, DCFS tries to match children with families of the same race and or ethnicity. However, the placement of children will not be denied or delayed on the basis of race, color, or national origin of the family or the child in care. So, who needs home? All of the children in Illinois, all of the children in DCFS care, they all need a loving family. They all need a place to call home. We especially need individuals. We need foster parents who can care for brothers and sisters who need to stay together. As I mentioned earlier, I have 3 little ones in my care, and I cannot imagine them not being together. You know, they're so close together, they love each other, that I cannot imagine them being separated. And believe me, there's many other siblings out there. They need you. If you have the space, please consider taking a set of siblings, 3, 4, as many as you like, if you have the space. But they do need to stay together, and we need to support them, their bond. We also need home for adolescents, African American children, Latino children, children with special medical needs, teenage mothers and their babies, and our LGBTQ plus youth in care. So these are the qualities that we're looking for in potential foster parents. We need somebody that can be loving, caring, have good listening skills, be strong when times get rough, because believe me, they will. Some of you parents can agree that it can be difficult, to parent children, for sure. But let me tell you that it's even more difficult having to be woken up at 3 a.m. because the child's having a nightmare again and again. It's very, very sad. But if I can do this, believe me, you can do this. Yes, you can do this. And you have to have patience and humor. My youngest, the 6-year-old, when he first came into my care, he could not speak. Now he's speaking. He's definitely made improvement. And some of his few words, aside from mommy, was why? Why? But why? Everything is why. What is that? Why? So patience. Yes, patience. And yes, we went from 2 adults in the home by ourselves, could control our time, we can do whatever we like. And now there's 2 of us, 3 kids and a dog. So yes, sometimes I feel like we're comedy skit, but it's fun. It's also very fun and it's very enjoyable. So please don't let that scare you away. It's amazing. And then of course we need individuals that can guide and discipline children without the use of physical punishment, to be able to work with other people in the child's life, and to be able to support the child's culture, language, and religion if different from your own. So if you're interested, these are the requirements that you need to have to become a foster parent. You must be 21 years of age. You can be single, married, or legally separated. You must complete a background check. Household members must submit a current medical exam. You must have space in your home to welcome a child. Your home must be safe and clean. You must be able to support your own financial needs. And you do not need to be a US citizen to qualify to become a foster parent. All right. And if you're still not sure, let me give you 4 more reasons why you should. First of all is that I'm still here and I'm surviving, and the kids are thriving, and you know what, and I'm not alone. I'm not alone, and neither will you. You will have support, but you can definitely influence a child's life. You can serve your community. As I mentioned, some of the children may be residing in your own neighborhood, and it's a great opportunity for your family to serve others. Some of you who have children, imagine what a wonderful example you will leave your children, for them to see you caring for a child in need. Or you can bring a little brother or a big sister into your home, right? And take it from me, it's emotionally fulfilling, for sure, without a doubt. All right, so I am glad to now introduce the panelists for the Q&A portion of this presentation. And our first panelist, her name is Arenda Hall, and she is a Cook County Lead Support Specialist. She's a master trainer for prospective foster parents, and she is a foster parent herself. She has been a foster parent for 25 years. And during this time, she has cared for many children and has supported the children's reunification with their birth family. She herself is a mother of 4, which includes an adopted special needs son. We also have Carol Klein, and she's one of the department's bilingual employee, and she has been with DCFS for over 30 years. She has worked as a foster care licensing representative for the past 22 years, and based on her own multicultural family upbringing, she appreciates the need for and value of diversity, especially as it pertains to foster care. Next, we have Jovana Smith, and she has been employed with DCFS for 31 years, and she has served in many roles. She's currently one of our Cook County recruitment and resource specialists. Jovana is passionate about her work because it affords her the opportunity to impact the lives of people in a very positive way. Then we have Gabriella Medelnung, and she's a working woman, a mother of 2 boys, ages 12 and 17, and is a DCFS foster parent. During her 5 years as a foster parent, she has cared for 5 children, and their ages range from 4 to 19 years old. And last but not least, we have Jennifer Cauliflowers, and she's a foster parent based in Massachusetts. She's a public defender practicing criminal defense for indigent clients. Jennifer is also on the board of directors for the Filipino Young Leaders Program. So thank you for the panelists, and we're gonna move on to the Q&A portion now. So please, let's hear your questions.
I see that we have a couple of questions in the Q&A. We have, how much information will I be received regarding the child and their family? Which panelist would like to answer that one?
Hi, the information that you receive, if this is a new child that is coming into care, unfortunately, you won't receive a lot of information, mostly because we don't have that information. But once children get comfortable with you, they will disclose to you more than you will ever think. And as a foster parent and as a trainer myself, I always recommend for foster parents to document and journal. So by documenting and journaling, it will help you to get to know that child a little bit better. And also it may help you to learn some patterns of interaction or other things that you need to report to the caseworker. And as a foster parent, we always work as a member of a professional team. So if we need to share information, we always have it right there handy, because my memory is getting really bad now. But if I write it down, and I try to write it down quickly, then it helps me to be able to share that information, and also as a way to advocate for children with their needs.
Wonderful, thank you. Another question that we have received is, do all adults in the home, who are all in the home, have to go through training? What does that look like?
No, not all of the adults will have to go through training, but if you are a married couple, then both of you will need to go through the training and to be on the license together. But we do have instances where we do have maybe a grandparent in the home, maybe it's a single parent home, but that grandparent, you know, or the mom of the, or dad of the foster parent, they don't have to go through training. So Carol, I think you can probably add a little bit more to that.
Right. You know, generally speaking, if you're legally married, both of you need to be on the license. The expectation is that both of you participate in training. Even in cases, if you're a couple, if you're not legally married, but you're a couple, we generally still have the expectation that both of those adults in the home will go through the training process, because one of you is you know, each of you is a respective parent figure, whether a mother figure, father figure. So generally speaking, yeah, both primary adults in the home should participate in the training.
Wonderful, thank you. Another question that we got, can you talk a little about specialized foster care versus standard in case anyone is interested in a higher level of care for foster youth in need?
Okay, well, and just because I'm doing this so much for training, but with children that come into care, we can give them that title of specialization based off of a medical need. And these are needs that are more than typical things such as asthma. Unfortunately, that's really common, and maybe ADHD, but we look at the level of care, so, or the needs for that child. So a child that comes into care, most often they come in as traditional, which means that as a traditional child, we really don't know necessarily what your level of needs are. But again, if you're documenting and you're journaling and you are working with other members of the team to determine that this child does need a lot more support, then that's what that specialty comes in. But a child can be specialized based off of a medical need or a behavior or an emotional need.
And I just will jump in as a foster parent of a little autistic boy. When he first came to our home, he was undiagnosed. So that was a huge transition to take in a foster child, number one, and a foster child who was really going to have a higher level of need than your average neurotypical child. And I think there are so many children with these type of needs in the system. And it really is why there's such a great need for people that are able to understand that. And I don't expect people to fully understand, any type of diagnosis. It's all a learning process as a parent, whether you're a foster parent or a regular parent. So I say to, go through the process with courage, with grace, with a support system, because we were able to navigate that from the beginning, because we knew the challenges and the impact that could be made at such a young age in those developmental years. So we were the ones that set up early intervention, that set up all of the extra services that hadn't been set up yet. So I think when you're thinking about specialized care, or even someone that may not be at that level but is going to require more, I think all foster children on some level do need some type of special, whether it's trauma-informed parenting or medical conditions. I think my best advice as a foster parent is you're not going to have the answers to everything, but as a foster parent, it's your job to advocate and to get those answers and resources. So don't be daunted by it. I encourage anyone who may be even thinking, if you've ever thought of fostering, then that's something inside of you that I think that you should talk more out with people that are foster parents, with some of the recruiters, to see if it's for you, because this is not a thought that crosses everyone's mind, right? It's not like, oh yeah, maybe I should foster. That is not the average thinking of the average person. I think it takes a special person to have that kind of desire to help, to be of service to such a vulnerable population. So I just encourage everyone to really think about it and really explore, and just don't close that door yet if you're thinking about it.
Jennifer, I love that. Can you, I'd love to hear a little bit from you and from Gabriella, like what was your family's personal path to wanting to contemplate becoming a foster parent?
So I'll talk, a little briefly about it. My husband and I, we wanted to bring children into our home, and we felt this was a way for us to really make a difference. Many of the things that were said in the presentation earlier really spoke to me, because it is why we did this. We became foster parents a couple of months before the pandemic hit. So I would describe our experience this past year and a half as extreme foster parenting, because our experience has transitioned from having a set of sibling brothers to having them home a lot, right? So you're trying to navigate childcare, you're trying to navigate schooling at home while we both work full-time jobs. And also many of our parent visits turned to virtual. So I think foster parents during this pandemic have taken on a greater role in making sure that that relationship remained intact. I can say that it's been rewarding, it's been challenging, and it continues, every day is different, but I think it's something very, very special. And again, to have this impact on a child as a public defender, I've had many clients who have been in the foster care system. So I've seen it 10, 15, 20 years later down the road when they share their experiences with me. So I know that, my ability to have them form healthy attachments to, things that we take for granted sometimes, the ability to know that they have a meal, that they don't have to worry about being hungry. It's those types of things and this type of population that, is why they need foster parents who really can step up and do this and understand why it's important, not just for the job, but for what's going to happen later down the road for these kids.
What about you, Gabriella?
Hi. Yeah, so I'm a foster parent too. I've been one for 5 years. I have a child with special needs. We did not have a biological children of our own, so we adopted this little boy 12 years ago. And then 5 years ago, I think, I used to be constantly hearing about these children in care. And instead of adopting another child, I said, why not let's go into, the foster care thing. So we stepped out, my husband and I, and we got the training and we did all of that. That was a process by itself because, you've got to go through the training, which is pretty intense. You do your background checks, you do medical exams. But, if you're really interested in it, that's all it flies by pretty soon. Once you get your licensing, then of course comes the time and people, you start getting the calls and, asking you whether you can take a child in. So, when that was the hardest part for me was that, you get that call. It could come in at any time of the day. It would just take you by surprise. And you get this call and they say, hey, you got place for a child. And then, you ask questions sometimes. The first child we had got into the house. They did not have any information at all about the child. And so, that's the kind of hard thing that I found with the whole foster care process. But once the kid is in your home, it's a totally different ball game. The kids, they are different. We've had children ranging from the age of 4 to the age of 16. The 16-year-old is right now still in our home. He's 19 now. He just decided to hang on with us. He's really sweet and we really enjoy having him with us. He actually went to university. He was supposed to go to university last year. But because of COVID, he decided to come back home because everything was over Zoom. But like I said, the kids are different. The 4-year-old, he was a little innocent little boy. And it was really hard, just seeing these kids, what they go through in their lives. It's really, really hard. And but he did finally get reunited with his father. And that was a really wonderful thing. But at the same time, it was really hard for us also to give him up because, you grow attached to these children and, they become part of you. So, that's the hard part is watching them and also the hard part is giving them up. Yeah, it's really, really difficult. There are times, of course, when the children are very difficult to deal with. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I didn't have a lot of experience with, looking after children. And some of the kids that come in with very traumatic backgrounds. So, dealing with that, you do not always know how to react to situations. When they misbehave or, they throw tantrums or, it's very difficult sometimes to figure out how do I deal with this child. But I will just tell you this, that initially where we started off at 5 years ago and where I've come to now, I've learned a lot of tricks along the way on how to deal with these children. It's experience, I think, that builds, helps you. And then also you get support, you have the support specialists. You can always call up somebody and ask them, if the child is not of a race that is your race. Like I've got friends who are African American. I call them up and say, hey, I've got this African American little girl in my house. I don't know how to comb my hair. I'm struggling with that. Can you help me with that? So there are different scenarios, but I have to say it is very fulfilling. I have loved every one of the kids that have come into our home. I do get upset when sometimes I cannot really help a child. Sometimes you got to let them go because you cannot help them. You honestly cannot. I couldn't help a couple of the kids in my home, and I had to ask, that they be removed. And DCFS did help us with that. And there was a genuine reason for it. I did not have the capabilities to look after those children. So that's been predominantly experience, but I have to say it's a very fulfilling. Whoever is interested in doing it should jump into it, at least give it a try. There are support, there is help from DCFS and from the community as well.
I've really enjoyed hearing about both of your stories. Thank you so much. I think from what you have both said, I would love if we could touch on a little bit more about the supports that are set in stone for foster parents.
I can speak to that. One of the supports that Gabriella mentioned was foster parent support specialists. And all of our specialists are currently or formerly licensed caregivers, foster parents, adoptive parents, and they are available. Once someone is licensed, one of our support specialists is assigned to that home. They're available 24/7. And what's great is that they speak from their experience. The foster parent isn't contacting, a bureaucratic worker or a social worker. They're contacting an actual experienced foster parent. So that is one of the biggest supports. Other things include medical card for medical care coverage. There's also a monthly board payment, which is, in many ways, it's like reimbursement, and it's not counted as income. It's paid in arrears, meaning it's paid after the fact. If a child's placed in your home in July, you would receive your initial board payment towards the end of August. So that's a support to help cover the expenses of raising a child. I don't know if anyone else wants to add anything else to that in terms of other supports.
I would include that we also have the case manager who walks alongside you in that process to make sure that the needs of the child is met. We have an educational advisor if your child has some special needs in terms of education. We also provide therapy, counseling. We recognize now that every child that comes into care has been traumatized in some kind of way. So we are being proactive versus being reactive and ensuring that those services are put in place in a timely fashion. I know one of the questions earlier was about specialized children. We do have a clinical team that if the foster parent or the team with the case manager and the parents feel that this child's needs are greater than normal, we have a clinical team that will walk alongside them and make sure that that child is diagnosed and or assessed appropriately so that they can get the services that they need. And if that child is deemed to be specialized, there is an increased rate for that child because you will be doing more than what the traditional foster parent would be doing. So the department does acknowledge that, and they do increase that stipend for the specialized child.
I also wanted to add that we also provide ongoing training. So you have to have training to get your license, and it's not a parenting class, so we're not teaching you how to be parents, but we're talking about some of the trauma and some of DCFS's policies and things that you just generally need to know. But we also provide ongoing training. So Jennifer mentioned her child is autistic. So we do have a variety of things that we do offer. We also have monthly foster parent support group meetings, and we really try to do everything that we can to make sure that the hard work that you're doing to have the children in your home, that at the very least we can support you. We also have daycare. So the daycare is if you work, whether outside of the home or if you work inside your home, then we do offer daycare reimbursement, and that has nothing to do with your income. It's just because you are a working parent. So there are so many things that DCFS really tries to put in place, because we appreciate the foster parents, because foster parents are the backbone, and if it wasn't for foster parents, then we wouldn't be able to do our job. So we do as much as we can to help and support.
So I've taken advantage of a lot of those services that have been offered to me, including the daycare voucher, and having a caseworker, and the parent support groups have all been so helpful. Just speaking to kind of the support that you also seek from your own family, I think that's something, you know, as Asian Americans, and specifically I'm Filipino, we're welcoming and have large families anyway. So when you're taking a child or children into your home, you know, many of us come from families where they're gonna support us no matter what, because we value and respect the family unit no matter what that consists of. So I think I've been blessed to have so many families, members come and really help take care of the kids that we have in our home. And it's provided more opportunities for them to form relationships with other people, especially during the pandemic. But I think, you know, think about who in your life, whether it's family or friends, that can support you, because you're not going to be able to do it just on your own. You should always be looking for help and support so that you have a more successful transition to having a child in your home.
Before we leave the topic of support, I also wanted to mention how much we were looking forward to working with CMAA, because CMAA has a lot of support within their own program that I think that our foster parents can take advantage of. So Dennis and I had talked about this. I don't think there's anything formalized, but CMAA has a mentoring program. It has a mentoring for boys and girls, and we're talking about, I think it's called the Young Women's Warrior mentoring programs, and then the male side is young men making moves. Yes, so I think that those are the things that we were looking for in partnering with a community-based organization. And you know, not only does CMAA have the mentoring program, but they also have a after school program that they have for kids within the community. And then there's you know, they're working on a tutoring program for kids. So there are so many things, and I think that that's what we were looking for, is for our foster parents to make the connections within the community and look at other community members to help support them in becoming foster parents and having resources for their kids in care. So thank you, CMAA, once again.
Thanks, Marjorie. And actually, tomorrow night, our boys mentoring program, we're going to do financial literacy. So I'm actually the host mentor, and with one of our mentees, we're going to teach everyone about credit cards versus debit cards, what's taxes, and kind of all. And we do it by a way of a group mentoring. But to Marjorie's point, like you know, DCFS has a wide array of excellent support systems, and whether you're in the Chicago area or for those that are watching this from outside of Illinois, you know, there are a lot of great community-based organizations that provide that supplemental for the foster parents, so that you can help, like, really give a well-rounded experience to your child. I know that Oneed in both the Q&A and chat asked the same question. So I think he really wants to know, and I think it's an important question, how long is the licensing process to take to foster a child? So if someone wanted to apply.
Sure. You get in contact with us by phone, through the website. Your information is taken. You will get assigned to a licensing worker that licensing worker will contact you to schedule a meeting, and we'll discuss the detail and process, give the application. We generally tell people once you complete the application, which involves completing some forms, getting fingerprinted, completing a medical, once we get that back from you, by policy, we try to get you licensed within 75 days. It's 75 to 90 days. However, sometimes there's delays. One of the biggest delays sometimes is the training. The training that you want to attend might not start for a few weeks from this point. And if the training takes several weeks, sometimes we go beyond that time frame. Also, sometimes workers are busy, they don't quite meet that 75-day deadline. But the point is, once we get an application from you, we try to keep the ball rolling and get you licensed basically within that 2.5 to 3 month period.
Awesome. I believe Marjorie answered this question, but I just wanted to see if anybody wanted to expand on it more. What is the average stay of a child in foster care? And she said the average stay is greater than 24 months, but I didn't know if anybody wanted to expand on that at all.
So I can take, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Gabrielle.
I'm just saying it from personal experience. I think it just changes depending on the child's situation. Like in a home, like we've had kids who've stayed with us just a month versus our recent child, the child who's with us right now, who's been with us for 3 years. So it depends on situation to situation. So if they get reunited with their families, or one of the children had to be placed with her siblings, so she had to move into another group home. So depending on the situation, it just varies, I would say.
Does anybody have any more questions? If not, I'm going to turn it over to Beatrice if you would like to end your PowerPoint.
Definitely. So thank you very much to our panelists. Very good information. Very good information. Moving on. Excuse me. So this is our call to action. Hopefully we give you enough information, at least to get you curious enough, to want to find out a little more. Because we definitely, we need foster parents. We need loving adults to consider becoming foster parents. And if not, become a volunteer, become a mentor, or become a friend to somebody who may be going through the process in your somebody in your community. So, but if you are ready to start this journey, please visit our website and going to become a foster parent and complete your inquiry application, just basic information so we can call you back. And one of our foster parent recruitment specialists, somebody like Ms. Smith, will call you back and answer any questions that you have. Now, I know I went over the requirements, you don't have to remember everything. That's what we're here for. When we call you back, we'll talk about that a little further. What are the requirements? What is the licensing process to help you make that choice if you are ready to proceed? If you are ready, we'll definitely refer you over to our excellent licensing teams. They will take you through your journey to become a foster parent. But just to go over some of the supports that we have available that we already mentioned, you do also receive the ongoing support of our licensing team. Once they license you, they continue to support you. They visit your home on a regular basis. They assess your home. They answer any questions that you have at any times. So they're there for you. As we also mentioned, the foster parent support specialty unit, they're available to you at all times. As far as I know, I believe it's 24 hours a day. They're there for you. Sometimes even just to hear you vent, if necessary, they'll be there for you. And there's also a very large DCFS foster parent community that is very much involved. They're very involved, supportive of one another. So you have that support as well. The case management team, as well as the specialty units in DCFS to help in the event any children have any specialized needs. And just like the panelists mentioned, you do need a support. So believe me, in my personal experience, my family has been incredible, just like Jennifer mentioned. My family has been gone above and beyond. They have welcomed these children with open arms. My community, let me tell you that for the holidays, I had people coming, dropping off food, dropping off items. And I realized that it was not just me. It was not just my journey. It was not my experience, but it was my communities, because they also wanted to be part of it. And it's been amazing. And these little ones, the 3 little ones, have enjoyed every minute of it. And yes, because it does take a village. It definitely takes a village. So please consider taking this journey and helping a child in need. Help us transform a child, you know. We need you. We definitely need you. And something that I wanted to say, somebody asked me, but what if the children leave your home? Aren't you going to be sad? Aren't you going to be, you know? And of course I am. I am. But I believe that every child deserves to be loved, even if just for a moment, even just for a few months or a few years. Every child needs to be loved. And even at the risk of getting my heart broken, every child deserves that. Definitely. So please, hopefully you can consider. And if you're not quite ready, please visit the Chinese Mutual Aid website and find ways in which you can support, volunteer, or mentor somebody in your community. All right. And this ends our portion of the presentation. Any other questions, Dennis?
No, I looking at the chat and Q&A, I think everyone has, we've tried to answer all the questions. Again, on behalf of Chinese Mutual Aid Association, I am truly so happy about this collaboration with the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services. Thank you to this really special panel. CMAA is really proud of all the webinars we do, whether it's to help small businesses, whether it's like pandemic relief. You know, like we're proud that we're going to be a partner with the City of Chicago to give out rental assistance, giving out hundreds of thousands of dollars of rental assistance to Chicago residents in the weeks and months to come. But really, of all the things that we're doing, this is personally my personal favorite presentation that we put together, because if we can get just one person that's attended this to consider being a foster parent, that will change someone's life forever. So thank you, Marjorie, for being there when we first talked about it, and thank you to Beatrice, the entire DCFS team, Gabriella, Jennifer, and Beatrice. As I said in the chat, all of you are saints. Emily, thank you for doing all the logistics behind the scenes to make this seamless.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to, on behalf of DCFS, we want to thank Chinese Mutual Aid Association, in particular, Dennis Mondero and Emily, for putting together all of this. We really do appreciate hearing from all the foster parents. So Gabriella, Jennifer, Beatrice, thank you so much for your participation, and all of our DCFS folks for all of your expertise in providing the information.